Welcome to Find Your Tribe podcast. We're broadcasting from beautiful Portland, Oregon. My name is Annie Lavender Weller. I'm a member of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians and co-founder of the Leadership Lab, which is a career, academic, and transitional coaching nonprofit. I'm also a serial entrepreneur, author, and International Coaching Federation, ACC certified business coach and consultant. Welcome to my podcast, Find Your Tribe. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Find Your Tribe. I'm your host, Annie Weller. I almost said I'm your guest, but that's not what I am today. Today I have Sarah Bowen Shea. She is co-founder of Another Mother Runner, and with her business partner has co-authored 3 books that include Run Like a Mother. They have an amazing and vibrant website, anothermotherrunner.com, and she hosts the podcast Another Mother Runner. She also speaks at race expos and interacts with their tribe of Another Mother runners in various in-person events, including an annual running retreats. Welcome, Sarah. I'm so happy that we finally were able to connect.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. And I'm not sure you've said Another Mother Runner enough times, Annie. You got to say it like 5 more times, right?
You know, I was trying, so I have like a speech little impediment. So I was really concentrating. I think I give myself a B+.
Yeah, it's like running downhill. You just got to just go for it. The more times you say it, the more faster.
Exactly. So, I always start out with my first question is, what does Find Your Tribe mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, I love that I get to be a guest on the show because tribe is the word that we use to describe the community that defines what Another Mother Runner is. And like we uppercase the T and everything. So it's very much a part of our lingo. And so, in this social media obsessed world, I think it's easy to feel isolated, which maybe sounds like an oxymoron, but I think so often people don't connect in person. I see it so much with my kids that they would rather Instagram somebody than actually talk to them. So to me, it's so important to find like-minded people that you feel feel like kindred spirits. And for me, runners are those people. That's my tribe, and particularly women runners. And I don't feel any sort of extra kinship with mother runners, but definitely women runners in general. I think there is kind of a different mindset.
So have you always been a runner, or is that something that you started later in life?
I was not an athlete growing up at all. I was a reader, not a runner. And I actually thought when I went to college, I'm like, I went to Colgate University, and it was known at the time as kind of a jock school. And I was like, do I have to be a jock to go here? So, but then when I was in college, I discovered my athletic gene, and I became a rower. And then running just became a way to cross-train for that. And then when I graduated college, it was the inexpensive, always accessible activity. So I've been a consistent runner ever since I graduated from college, which I'm embarrassed to say is 30 years this year. So, yeah.
Congratulations. 30 years. I know I went to my high school reunion and at the 20-year mark, and I was like, oh my God. I mean, that was a few years back after,
Where does time go?
Yeah, the 30-year probably, that's about, 3 years, my 30-year college, not college, but my high school. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm planning on going to the reunion in part because I can combine it with a race expo that's in Albany, New York. And so I'm like, hey, I can go to a reunion for a couple days, and then I can go to this race expo and meet some other runners. So it's a good way to combine both sides of my life.
So I believe that there's different types of runners. So I'm more of a long distance runner than a sprinter. Mm-hmm. So have you done marathons and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so I just completed my 14th marathon last fall, and that's the distance that I tend toward, mainly because I love training for it. I don't actually love racing all that much. I really like the putting in the miles that lead up to that race, and I just enjoy being out there and seeing, like you, I live here in Portland, Oregon, and I love being out there. I love being outside. I love feeling alive. and purposeful when I'm outside. And I also adore spending time with my best running friend. So we get to put in a lot of miles and chit chat and all that good stuff. So yeah, so I am more of a distance runner as well.
Yeah, I'm really short, so sprinting is not my thing. But I can go for long ways.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah. I might not be the fastest, but I'll get there at the end.
Well, that's what counts. That's what counts. It doesn't matter what speed, you're covering the same distance.
So how did Mother Runners come about?
Yeah, so another Mother Runner, so my business partner, Dimity, lives in Denver. She and I were longtime magazine writers, and Dimity was about to have her second child, and she had suffered from postpartum depression after her first. So like every crazy pregnant woman, she decided she needed a goal after her giving birth, and she decided that running a marathon would be that goal. And so she recruited the one friend who she knew would say yes to training, and that was me. And so then we turned that into a feature for Runner's World, where we were the marathon moms, juggling being a mom and putting in the miles training. And from that experience, we discovered there was this amazing tribe of women runners that we felt no one was really talking to. And we decided we wanted to write a book that would speak to that tribe of women, and thus became Run Like a Mother, which came out in 2010. And from there, I mean, we are not business people. Like I said, we're freelance magazine writers. And just our community just built up from there via social media, going and, being at race expos. We start, the reverse of you, I'm very tall, but I'm 5'11", but Dimity is 6'4". And so she very wisely was like, Sarah, no one's going to come up to a table with just a bunch of yellow books on it if we have, these two Amazons standing behind it. She's like, we got to put some shirts we got to make some shirts and sell those. I'm like, oh, that's clever. So we started that was the start of our online store, doing clever shirts and accessories that really represent what we call the tribe vibe in our book, Run Like a Mother. And so it sounds like I'm pandering to you by using the term tribe, but I swear I'm not. And so anyway, so we just started selling that. And so then we it just built up from there, and we launched our podcast in 2011. We have our store, like I said. We have our Train Like a Mother Club, which is support and training plans from the very first step all the way to the finish line. And I mean, newsletter and our website, our retreats, like you mentioned in the intro. So just pretty much everywhere you turn, there's a way you can interact with the Another Mother Runner tribe. And it just kind of meets you where you are, whether you're taking your first steps towards a 5K or training for an ultra distance race or an Ironman, whatever the case may be.
So my number one question, I do not have children. So do you need to be a mother to join the tribe?
You do not. Most definitely do not. We, if you have a fur baby, or, maybe you have some plants in your house, whatever it is. No, you just have to be, you don't even have to be a woman runner. I mean, we definitely have some father runners. There's a special Facebook page just for those guys. but typically we're about 99% women. And it's more just that, we have traveled around the U.S. and it's amazing how immediately we walk into a party that we're having or at a race expo, and no matter what part of the country we're in, we feel a connection and we have this common ground that we can talk about and laugh about and kvetch about the experiences we've had. We've all chafed, no matter, whether we're in a red state or whatever, you got kids, you don't have kids, we all experience the same things. We all sweat the same. We all strive toward goals. We all feel proud when we finish a run or a race. So it's really just the running that unites our tribe.
So that makes me, I'm curious, there's a lot of running clubs out there. So how are you different than the other running clubs or the other running tribes out there?
So that we don't have running groups around the country. So, a Moms Run This Town or something like that. Those, that's a nationwide organization. They meet up in, 10 a.m. on Tuesdays or whatever and go for group runs. I mean, while Train Like a Mother Club, there's people, they can eventually meet up at a race. That's not the point. We are except for when we go to do in-person events, we are all online, and we are offering that support. So whether you're in Nebraska or, DC or Seattle, you can go on our Facebook page, you can listen to the podcast, you can open our newsletter, you can go on our website, and you get that motivation and that kick in the pants to get out the door. I mean, right now it's really, really crummy weather in most parts of the country. And, you can be like, oh, I hate the treadmill. I don't want to do it, but it's on my training plan. And so you go on the Another Mother Runner Facebook page and you're like, oh, wow. Stephanie did it, and, Caroline got in her miles, and okay, well then I'm going to go do it. So because, being a runner, being a mom, just like I said, being in this internet driven world can be very isolating. And so to feel that you're part of something bigger and that can help you reach your goals and keep putting one foot in front of the other.
So to change what we're discussing, I'd like to get into the business of Another Mother Runner. So you're coming up on your 8-year anniversary. So how did this get started? I mean, I understand like you were discussing and then t-shirts and so forth, but how did it become a business for you? I mean, going from journalism to running a business, it's a pretty big step. I mean, I was married to a journalist, so he wasn't really the business type.
Yep. If I could go back in time, I would definitely get an MBA. But I mean, we always wanted to be very authentic and only do things or promote things that we ourselves wanted to do. And so we kind of had that as our lodestar to follow. And we just were very authentic, we're very candid. And so we started taking on marketing partners. So that was one revenue stream. We've been partners with a brand called Noon, NUUN. They're these electrolyte replacement tablets that you put in water and gives you all the electrolytes you need. And so we've been partners with them for it's be 7 years this year. We've longtime partners with GOO, which is an energy gel. We are partners with Chrysler Pacifica hybrid minivans. I mean, so all these brands that want to reach mother runners or women or mothers, we can do that in a very authentic, grassroots way. So we tap into that. We, we make money off the Train Like a Mother Club because you have to, those training plans cost money. You sell enough t-shirts, our retreats make some money for us. So just really kind of putting together a bunch of smaller things, a bunch of small streams make up one more steady river, let's say, in terms of, and I mean, we just kind of felt our way along. Dimity is definitely very interested in the creative side of things, and I have a hankering more for the business side of things. And I think we just kind of dumb lucked it into doing marketing in a way that, I mean, now we talk to bigger brands and they're like, oh, that's exactly that way of really speaking to the consumer. That's exactly what we're trying to do. And it's like, okay, we never put it in those words, but that's exactly what we've been doing for almost 8 years. So I think just, I keep saying it, authentic, but being authentic, I mean, I'm not going to shill something that I don't believe in. And so, yeah, it's worked out very well for us. And we are very dedicated to our tribe. We're very dedicated to this brand and what we do for women. I mean, we've really, maybe it sounds conceited, but we really feel like we're making a difference in people's lives. And we feel that by comments on the Facebook page or emails we get or what people tell us in real life, when we see them at expos or whatnot. So we feel validated in what we're doing.
Yeah, I think that when you build a business based on a community need or something that you feel that's missing in your community, I try to work, when I work with my clients, try to really, get them involved with their community. And I think that's one thing that's kind of somewhat missing sometimes. And the other thing is instead of going down the number scale or whatever, trusting your gut, trusting your heart, trusting your head. Another thing, having a business partner that's creative, where you're the numbers person, that is as a marriage made in heaven.
Yeah,
honestly,
I wouldn't go so far as to say I'm the numbers person. I am the person who pays the bills, but I enjoy the, oh, okay, well, let's work out a deal with this sunglasses company, or this app, whatever it is. I enjoy feeling like a business person, and I find marketing intriguing. And I mean, so Dim and I were both writers, and she definitely still carries that passion with her. If I could crank out a novel, I'd do it, but I don't have the time, and I don't think I have the talent. But that I mean, I like the podcast ended up being one of my true loves in our brand, so I'm the host, and Dimity occasionally comes on to co-host. So we each get to do what we really enjoy and what we excel at, I think.
So what do you feel that the stage of your business is currently at? Do you feel like you're going to be growing more, or do you think that you're going to be staying where you're at, or what's coming up? I mean, year 8, that's pretty awesome. So most businesses don't go past year 2 or 3.
I think, I mean, we're definitely in a period of accelerated growth in 2018. I mean, an example of that is we just announced our series of what we call BAM Ambassadors, which stands for Badass Mother Runner Ambassadors. Badass Mother Runner. I hope it's okay. I just said that word now twice on your podcast, but
yes,
that's very much our catchphrase for that, and we call ourselves BAMers, and like it's a acronym that resonates within our tribe. And so we have 32 women across the U.S. and 1 in Canada who will be helping us spread the word about Another Mother Runner. And they'll be representing us at race expos that we can't be at. So we really now we kind of feel like we have a mobilized army, for lack of a better term, to help us in our goals. And then also, I mean, the fact that we just, like I said, now we are partners with Chrysler. I mean, that's huge for us. That's a, world recognized brand that, and Dim and I are both going to be driving our, Pacifica hybrid electric minivans with AMR. And
those are awesome.
I mean, it's going to be so much fun. I bet you'll see me cruising around Portland. You'll be like, wait, that must be Sarah. Well,
what's funny is we live down the street kind of from each other. So you're just on the other side.
I know. Particularly because, my twins, my 12-year-old twins are 7th graders at Da Vinci. So I am over near you all the time. So
all the time. I take my dogs to that park every day.
I'm sure you have seen my son being Mr. Crazy Man outside. He's the one with no jacket on. So we definitely see it as a year of increased growth. And we also, we just keep having ideas about how we can grow our brand while still very much providing service and support for the women in our tribe. And so, because we're definitely, we could leverage our, I guess we could go out and sell our marketing list or something like that. That's not something we do. I mean, we are very protective of the people in our tribe, and very much, like I said, can we offer them a service that we ourselves would want? Can we bring them a product that they themselves would want? So like this year, we're starting to offer what we call BAMR boxes. And so they're, maybe quarterly boxes of a whole bunch of really cool products that they pay very, way less than what they pay if they bought each item separately. And it just, introduces them to new products that we've approved. And it's just this fun treat that they get. And, we're thinking about having like a special bangle bracelet that if you get all 4, then you've got all the little charms and all this stuff. So, we definitely are not at a lack for ideas, and just sometimes for us, it's a question of, do we have the woman power to really carry these initiatives through at a quality that we feel is befitting Another Mother Runner? Which was, that was a really fancy sentence I just said. But, so just, if we had more people working for us or more contractors, we could implement a lot of the ideas we have, and we just have to be smart about which ones we can take on and not overburden ourselves.
So how are you dealing with family and business? How has, I mean, I know that I am in my marketing advertising firm for 11, 12 years. So, and ended up getting divorced, but that's a different story. I think, you know, as women and as caregivers and as mothers or myself, I'm not a mother, but I do have 2 fur babies. But at the same time, I have responsibilities in my home. So how have you dealt with that? And especially since you're growing so rapidly, it must be kind of crazy right now for you.
Well, it also was tough because we did a ton of traveling for a bunch of years. Like each time a new book would come out. So we had Run Like a Mother in 2010, Train Like a Mother in 2012, and then Tales from Another Mother Runner, which is a mouthful, in 2015. And so we would go on tours that, the first one was a traditional book tour, and that wasn't such a hit. But then I came up with this idea to have mother runner parties. And so they started out at people's homes, and then they morphed to being at running stores, because it was far less intimidating to go to someone's house than it is to, oh my gosh, go to a bookstore and you might have to parallel park. And this way it was a low barrier entry. And so, but we traveled. I mean, I've seen so much of this great country because of going to all these parties and expos and all that good stuff. And so that was a real strain on my family. You know, I mean, Dim and I probably were gone at least a weekend every month, if not more. So from a weekend, I mean, like from Thursday until Saturday or Sunday. Mm-hmm. And so that was tough. I mean, my kids are a lot more self-sufficient. It's tough, working at home, it's tough to draw lines between work and home because mm-hmm. your desk is right there. And so I really have to keep myself, I could say, to be able to say, oh no, that can wait until tomorrow. I should really play 5 crowns with my kids, or, mm-hmm. take the dog out, something like that. So it's more just about drawing boundaries and also not losing my temper with my kids when they are bothering me while I work. That's probably, that's a whole nother topic. Yeah. So,
I'm just giggling because every time I get on the phone or podcast or anything, there's a dog barking or coughing or the leaf blower is going on or the neighbor decides to mow the grass.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, I mean, right now, I hoped it would not be heard that we just finally got a dog last month and he's down in his crate, like being like, I don't like it down here, Mom, let me out. And,
so what kind of advice would you give to somebody? I mean, really that's maybe they're going into their 2nd, 3rd, 4th year of business. They are probably maybe a stay-at-home mom or something. What kind of advice that we would give them at like year 3, 4?
Gosh. I would say ask for help and try to get help when you need it. I mean, one example is our online store. All the merchandise is here in the finished basement of my house, and I do shipping from here. And then we also ship out swag when people join our Train Like a Mother Club. And I realized that people had some, have goodwill towards Another Mother Runner. So they were offering to come help me ship swag. And I'm like, okay, that'd be awesome. So, asking for help, and whether that means somebody picking up your kids after school so that you don't have to break up your work day by jetting off from 2:30 to 3:30 to pick up your kids. Because I think when people offer help, 99% of the time, they actually really mean what can they do to help you. So take them up on their offer. Don't always say, oh, no, it's okay. I got it. Look for mentors. I wish we had done that earlier. Sometimes things are so glaringly obvious, except when you don't know, because maybe it's a new realm or a new specialty that you're working in. So finding people who have been down the road ahead of you and asking them for advice or guidance. And how did you find a mentor? Because I know that's something that's pretty difficult to find. I mean, I finally found somebody myself, mm-hmm. To help, and
I've also put together, I hate to use the word mastermind, but we all use the word mastermind, but I have a small group of people that we meet once a week, and we also have work parties once a week. And they're people that have different businesses or similar businesses, but we get shit done together. And we're all in the same stage of business where we're growing. We've been in business for a while, but we need to have that support other than our husbands and wives and partners, which has been, in the last 6 months, my business has grown exponentially. And I think it has to do with, that group and also having a mentor, but finding those people. Wow. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur for over 15 years. I finally found my tribe. So I was just curious how you were able to find, a good mentor, or any tips.
I think going to networking opportunities or trade shows. I'm thinking about, I'm in the sports and fitness industry here in Portland, and we've got loads of people in that realm here in Portland. And so it was going to a networking event one evening that someone invited me to, and dragged myself to Old Town, and then found somebody who was willing to give me advice when I needed it. And so and again, accepting help when it's offered, and not being too concerned about being shot down, and so you ask for it, and you or to kind of target somebody, maybe if you're in a kind of more specialized industry. And I don't know, you have to sort of put yourself out there and be a little bit vulnerable, because maybe you will get turned down, but it never hurts to, as a youngest child, I know it never hurts to ask.
Yeah. So talking about help and getting help and so forth, I know that I have a real issue asking for help. But now I'm an expert at it. And now I have a business manager, for instance, and I have an executive assistant that helps me, which it took me 15 years to find my executive assistant. She was like the first piece of the puzzle. But how do you ask for help? I mean, it's difficult for me even now to ask my husband, like, hey, can you help me put this together really fast? I have a meeting in 2 minutes.
Right. Gosh, I guess I try to couch it a little bit in a kind of jokey, lighthearted way, and just keep the mood upbeat when I ask, maybe. And I'm thinking about, I just had to ship 100 pieces of swag, and so the person who helps Dimity, the woman actually lives here in Portland, and when she sent me over the list, I'm like, hey, can I sweet talk you into coming over and helping me, package these up? And she was like, yeah, sure. I think I can spare an hour. I'm like, and she was getting paid for the hour, but so I don't know. I guess I just ask. I truly am a youngest child. I mean, my philosophy in life forever has been, if you don't get what you want, it's probably because you didn't ask for it. And
that's really good. That should be on a lot of entrepreneurs, as a sticky note.
Yeah, and because all jokes aside, I mean, my sister's 5 years older than I am. My brother's 3 years older than I am, and my sister, I could tell, was always like, why'd you get the really gorgeous prom dress? I'm like, because I asked for it, and it's like you don't get a single thing that you don't ask for, but occasionally you will get what you ask for. And so if that is help, then ask for it, and I also think be very specific in the help you need. So, if it means, hey, could you pick up my kids and then maybe, keep them over for a play date this afternoon, and I'll return the favor next week or on spring break or whenever, then that person, your neighbor might very well keep your kids over for the afternoon, because maybe her kid goes crazy when he's by himself, so you sort of, I think, don't anticipate the response, and also don't think, ugh, I hate it when people ask me that, because you never know what that person's situation is. Maybe they've really, I like, okay, so those parties I was referring to, I mean, it was the point where we were asking women who were total strangers to us sometimes, but they lived in the right city, and we'd be like, hey, we all on our Facebook page, we'd be like, hey, we're looking for somebody to host a party, on June 23rd in Seattle. And I mean, people would offer, and I was just like, oh, I hate giving parties. I hate getting my house clean. But then there's women who are like, oh, I love entertaining. I love putting together, little cupcakes that I'll coordinate and cute napkins. And it's an excuse to clean my house. Whereas I'm like, oh, I have to clean the house. So you just never know what flips somebody's switch. And that by helping you, that might be helping them in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was also curious in regards to asking for help. And I know that, growing business, like now I have a business manager, which is really weird to think that I have somebody that's handling my business, the things that, behind the scenes, so I can work with my clients, so I can travel and spend time with my family, also, for instance, I have a housekeeper that comes in once a month and deep cleans my house. It doesn't take her very long because we moved from 2,400 square feet to 700 square feet on purpose. Well, we didn't have kids, and I was just sick and tired of having shit everywhere that we didn't need.
Oh my gosh, I tell you, I sometimes end somebody's house in our neighborhood burned down. I was like, oh, I'd love to have everything burned down because there's stuff. I don't really mean that, and my heart goes out to people who suffer, loss. But it's just like, so I totally hear you on the too much stuff. Oh, it's too much.
Yeah, I'm done. In fact, we're thinking about moving out of the city, which is going to be. I grew up in the country, but we're thinking about building 1,100 square foot, just like one level, everything that we want. Yeah. So, but. One of the questions, that I'm really curious, and when you're asking for help and you're building your business and, like I'm talking about having a business manager and how do you keep your business authentic with growing? How have you been able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's definitely been a guiding principle for Dimity and me since the get-go. And, when Dimity asked me to write the book, because it was her dream to write the book, she said to me, I don't do anything half-assed. I give my A effort all the time, and I ask whoever does stuff with me to do the same. Are you willing to do that? And at the time I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah. And, she really has held my feet to the fire on that one in a good way. And, I just, we get approached by some companies that want to partner with us, and I'm like, nope, that's nothing we'd really use. Like, we give some nice excuse, but, a tuna fish company is not what we're going to partner with. And that's a real life example. And so, so I just, we just continually ask ourselves, is this something we would want? Is this something I would use? Would this make my life easier, more streamlined? Would I be a better runner with it? Could I run a more efficient household with it? Could I be kinder to the environment with it? All those sorts of things. And if the answer is not a resounding yes, then we pass on it, because we definitely do have limited human resources with, there's just the two of us. We don't have employees. We have contractors, and there's only so many hours that we can have those people work. And so we can't just have a whole bunch of, we really take our pledges to our partners and the people in our tribe very seriously. And so we want to just be able to deliver fully on the promises we make to those people.
So, talking strictly about business, and you're very lucky that you found your partner. Any tips for maybe somebody starting out their business? For instance, my marketing advertising firm, I did not have a partner. I tried 2 partnerships, just didn't work. And I knew very, very quickly that they weren't going to work. And, just going through that exploratory. Any tips on, really finding that person or finding your tribe?
Well, I know I would not be able to run a business on my own. For a long time, it was just Dimity and me. And we wore a whole lot of different hats, some of which didn't fit us or look good on us at all. And but we at least had each other. And so if one of us was drowning, the other one could throw them a life preserver. So I do feel it's important to have a partner, at least one partner. I also feel it's important to not let everything that bugs you continue to bug you, that you have to let some water roll off your back. And as long as you know that you're both heading in the right direction, if you each take a slightly different path to get there, that's okay. That there's more than one right way to do something. And whether that means for instance, Dimity's kids, she's in a different time zone than I am. So she's an hour ahead of me. Her kids start school earlier than at least two of mine do. And I also am a person who's highly productive in the second half of the day, whereas Dim really does a great job of getting a lot of stuff done in the first half of the day. And it could be a cause of friction for us if we let it be, because she's sitting there waiting for my email response or waiting for something that I know I'm going to fully produce and do a great job on, but not until 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And that's when she's pretty much done for the day and hanging out with her kids. So, so just understanding that, making sure you're both heading toward the same goal, but understanding that you might, again, take a slightly different route to getting there.
Yeah. So changing again to going back to running, how the F do I get started? I've had some issues and so forth. How do I get back into the groove again? Because it's cold here, by the way. I know it's cold on the East Coast, but the wind, it's colder than normal.
I will give you that, but it is not truly cold. But it also, there's some sunshine out there right now. You have to be kind to yourself, and you have to start where you are. And if running, let's say for 20 minutes nonstop is not in the cards for you right now, then you decide, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to mix up running and walking. And so you run for 3 minutes and you walk for 2, and you're going to do that 5 times or 4 times or whatever it is. And then get something that really motivates you, a podcast or a new playlist or an app that is going to talk to you while it plays music, like this app called Aptive, has coach workouts and really cool playlists. And so whatever's going to motivate you, and then just, if you've told yourself you're going to do 3 minutes of running, 2 minutes of walking, if you're going to do that 4 times tomorrow, then that's it. That you don't have to then feel good that you did it, and don't feel like, oh, I should have done 5, I should have done 6. It's like, nope, start with 20 minutes and build from there. And also don't go overboard. I think too many, I know my husband, who is not an exerciser, is always like, oh, I'm going to work out 6 days a week. I'm like, well, that's setting yourself up for failure. So, set a realistic thing that you can do. So say you're going to do the, run walk 3 times a week. And then, you live near some good studios. So go, I don't know, do yoga, do Pilates, do a bar class. Maybe if you're brave enough, go do CrossFit over there on Gleason.
That's my CrossFit gym.
Yeah, I know.
So you've probably seen me running circles around the CrossFit gym.
Yeah, so I know exactly what you're talking about. So yes. So, but let's say you are going to try CrossFit, and that, but don't, and they're going to be like, come on, you should show up every day. It's like, no. My life, my work, my body is okay with 3 times a week, and just tell you, set your parameters. Cause man, I am like the dog that doesn't want to go on a walk. If I've told myself that I'm going to do something 3 times and somebody tries to force me to do it 4 times, it just makes me feel frustrated and angry. And so decide what you're going to do, and then do it. And when you're done, take a moment to reflect on that you got it done and feel proud about that. And, if it works for you, journal about it, or use an app like Strava or, Daily Mile or whatever it is to keep track of it. If that motivates you, really find out what invigorates you. I used to, despite being a runner for 30 years, I would never keep track of my annual mileage. And then at the end of 2016, so a year ago, at the end in late December, everybody was like, oh, I ran 1,200 miles, or I ran 900 miles, whatever it is. I'm like, oh, that is so cool. So at the beginning of last year, I set up on Strava that I wanted to run 1,400 miles. And I sort of forgot about the goal. And then I trained for a marathon. So turns out I reached that goal. And on December 18th, I happened to be scrolling through Strava, and I saw that I was 53 miles away from running 1,500 miles. And I'm like, well, looky there. I had no plans, but suddenly December 18th and 31st, I was a woman on a mission to go surpass 1,500 miles, and I ended up running 1,508.6 miles. So, so, and it got me out there. I mean, we had all that, I strapped on my Yak Tracks and went out there on the icy streets and was totally fine, and got in, I had to run with those 3 times. I got on 15 miles in Yak Tracks over three runs.
So that's adding weights to your bottom of your feet. So you were getting a good workout.
Yes, exactly. And I tell myself, it also makes your stride really accurate because you have to run in a slightly different way. So anyway, but my point is that for me, that was very motivating, and it got me out on a day that probably other people would have. I mean, I went on Christmas when it was icy. So, I really wanted to hit that goal. And, I love listening to podcasts, and I love listening to music. So a new run playlist is going to get me out the door. So find what it is. Yeah.
So could I find one of the things that I've been really struggling with is my husband's a foot taller than me. So I am 5'1", 4'11" and a half-ish, 5'1". And my husband is 6 foot tall, so he's a full foot taller than me. And people out there, it's really hard for me to keep up with them. And plus my husband's in the military. So running is part of his MO. It's part of his chemical makeup. So could I go to the website and find myself a buddy? Because I think that's the thing that's missing for me. So my big thing with CrossFit is every time I finish CrossFit, I got a glass of chocolate milk. Yeah, that was my reward.
That's the perfect recovery drink.
It was like the best chocolate milk you've ever had in your entire life. Every time.
That's so hilarious. Where did you get this chocolate milk?
But now, where did I get it from?
Yeah. Was it special, like from, the ocean or something? One of those places?
No. It wasn't special at all. It was just like regular whole milk and some Hershey syrup. And because, I'm right down the street I'm 4 blocks away from the CrossFit gym. So, I'd walk there and walk back. And walking home was usually pretty brutal. Because one thing I love about that CrossFit gym is they include running in CrossFit. Good. Yeah, so a lot of CrossFit gyms don't do that, and it's pure pump it up and iron, and that's not my thing. So that was chocolate milk was my thing. But now I have coming back from an SI joint injury, so it's like I need to find that running buddy, and also I love to trail run. That's one of my passions. I love trail running. I love going out in Forest Park. We're very lucky living where we live. And we have, 20? Well, I know that Wildwood is 28 miles one way, but I think it's over 200 or 300 miles of trails in the city. But I could go to another Mother Runner, sign up, and find a buddy that's close by.
So we definitely don't matchmake. I mean, you might end up finding somebody, but if you were looking for a training plan, like let's say you wanted to run a 10K or let's say you want to run for the Roses in April. So you could go to trainlikeamother.club and go there and find several different half marathon training plans to choose from. One that even would allow you to run, walk, or to, really start it. Your quote unquote long run would be 3 miles or 2 miles or whatever it is. And so then you would, if you sign up, register for Train Like a Mother plan, then you get the swag that I ship out, and you would be part of a private Facebook and private Strava group. And then you may very well, given particularly where we live in Portland, you might very well find somebody to run with. But definitely finding running buddies is not that's not in our in our wheelhouse. Yeah. So, but, if you are to anyone who's looking for a running buddy, because there is it's the greatest piece of equipment there is a best running friend, because, they'll be waiting for you. They'll get you out there when it's raining or when it's cold or whatever. And you just go to a local running store, and they definitely have group runs. I mean, Foot Traffic for you up on Fremont, they have group runs. Super nice people. Portland Running down there on Grand, they have group runs, and you can always and Lululemon, across the nation, they have running programs, running groups that go out of their stores.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yes. So, and I mean, I went on one Lululemon run a long time ago, and met the nicest women. And we like to say in Another Mother Runner that when your eyes are on the road, you can speak from the heart, because you can have such meaningful, honest conversations with people, literally because you are side by side. You are not sitting across a table with cups of coffee or wine glasses in front of you, which it can be a little awkward to talk to people while you're looking at them and admit, like, you have problems with your husband, or your kid just got diagnosed with, a learning disorder, or whatever it is that can be sort of a rough topic. But if you are there sweating it out, kind of breathing heavily, and you're not having to look at each other, you can have a lot more deep, emotionally connecting conversations.
I agree 100 bazillion %. So I did a mud run, my first mud run this summer.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it was super fun. I had mud in places I could not believe that I could get mud in. And I also conquered my fear of heights. I did not realize how bad my fear was, but they have military obstacle size and getting in. I had some girl that I did not know at all, and I was putting my foot over, and this was like probably 2-story rope climb thing. I mean, it was like so tall. Even thinking about it is making my heart kind of, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. But she climbed back up. She saw me struggling, and I was just like closing my eyes, like, you can do this, talking to myself. And she climbed back up and helped me put my foot, like place my foot. And I was, because I was shaking so hard. I was,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was super shaking. But I mean, I didn't even know her, and it's just like the running fitness community is like that. But also I ran with one gal that I had barely known, and then 2 other women I hadn't met at all. In fact, one flew down from Alaska. She is a complete Republican, complete supporter of the current president, which a lot of people know that I'm very liberal, Portland, Oregonian, granola, love the environment, hug a tree. But we did it together, and we held hands, and we cried afterwards, and like, because I mean, we ended up, instead of doing the 5K, the 10K.
Oh my goodness.
And afterwards, I know, and afterwards I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can walk back to the car. And my husband was supposed to be away on active duty, but he ended up being able to show up, but he couldn't compete because it was sold out. But he was just like, I didn't understand why you went through another loop. He was just like making fun of me the whole time. But I think, running especially, it just tears down those walls and those barriers, or just exercise in general. If you look at like the Olympics and things along that line. So I can't believe it. We're at a time, but how can people get a hold of you and become another mother runner?
There you go. So, the best way is to go to our website, anothermotherrunner.com, or look for us on Facebook, Another Mother Runner. And then on Twitter and Instagram, we are at The Mother Runner. And I hope people maybe will listen to the Another Mother Runner podcast.
Yes. And is that a weekly podcast? And the same weekly, Another Mother Runner?
Yep. Weekly.
Awesome.
Find it at all the places you find podcasts. Yeah. So
awesome.
This was very fun. Thank you so much, Annie.
Thanks so much, Sarah. And thanks again for listening to another episode of Find Your Tribe. You can find me at annieweller.com. Have a wonderful and beautiful day, everybody. And talk to you soon, Sarah.
Find Your Tribe podcast is a conversation with guests addressing all aspects of what makes our businesses and personal lives unique. We will balance traditions with new methods, respecting the past while acknowledging the need to embrace new methods and technologies. Finding Your Tribe podcast uncovers the personalities behind the businesses, the leaders who paved the way, and the essential heart of what makes our tribes run. Please visit me at annieweller.com for more information.